Calaroga Shark Media.
Welcome back to the TV Basement, Westerosi faithful. This is Journey Joe Mitchell, and today we're diving deep into the season finale of HBO's House of the Dragon. Season 2 has been a wild ride, full of political intrigue, family drama, and of course, dragons. And this finale, titled The Queen Who Ever Was, has left us with plenty to discuss. So grab your favorite Arbor Gold, settle into your Iron Throne replica, and let's soar into the fiery debate surrounding this season ender. First off, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the dragon. This finale was heavy on setup and light on the action many of us were expecting. But before we get into that, let's break down what actually happened in this jam-packed episode. We start in Tyrosh, with Tyland Lannister trying to negotiate with the Triarchy. Now I've got to say, Jefferson Hall deserves some serious props for his performance here. Watching Tyland, a man more accustomed to the polished halls of the Red Keep, awkwardly mud wrestle with the pirate queen Lohar was both hilarious and oddly endearing. It's moments like these that remind us that even in a world of dragons and magic, sometimes diplomacy comes down to good old-fashioned mud wrestling. Back in King's Landing, the cracks in the Green faction are starting to look more like chasms. Ewan Mitchell's Aemond is practically frothing at the mouth over their dragon disadvantage. His frustration is palpable, and you can almost feel the barely contained violence radiating off him. On the flip side, we have Fia Saban's Helaena, who steadfastly refuses to join the fight. Her quiet determination is a stark contrast to Aemond's rage, and it's a powerful reminder of the human cost of this conflict. But the real meat of this episode is over on Dragonstone, where Rhaenyra is juggling more balls than a flea-bottom street performer. Emma Darcy continues to impress as Rhaenyra, bringing a regal bearing to the role that's tempered with very human vulnerability. The scenes with the new dragon riders, Ulf, Hugh, and Adam, are particularly telling. You can see Rhaenyra trying to balance her need for their support with her wariness of these unknown quantities. And let's not forget Harry Collette as Jacaerys, whose prickliness towards the newcomers speaks volumes about the tensions within Team Black. Now let's talk about the showstopper of the episode, Daemon's vision quest in the Godswood. Matt Smith, folks. Matt Smith. If there were any doubts about his acting chops, this scene puts them to rest. Watching Daemon grapple with visions of the past and future is like watching a masterclass in acting. We see glimpses of White Walkers, Daenerys and her dragons, and even Rhaenyra on the Iron Throne. It's a sequence that ties House of the Dragon firmly to the larger Game of Thrones mythology, while also hinting at the tragic fate that awaits the Targaryen dynasty. But it's not just the visions themselves that are important. It's how they change Daemon. We've spent 2 seasons watching this character scheme and fight and rage against the world, but in this moment, we see him truly shaken. The realization that he might not be the main character in this story, that his role might be to support rather than to lead, is a pivotal moment for Daemon. And when he kneels before Rhaenyra later in the episode, it feels earned in a way it might not have before this vision quest. Speaking of Rhaenyra, let's talk about that face-off with Alicent. Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy are at the top of their game in these scenes. The history between these two characters, once friends, now rivals, crackles in every exchange. Alicent's peace offering is a brilliant twist, forcing Rhaenyra to grapple with the human cost of her ambition. It's a reminder that in the Game of Thrones, there are no easy choices. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Where's the big battle? Where's the dragon-on-dragon action we've been waiting for? And I hear you. After a season of build-up, it would have been satisfying to see at least some of these conflicts come to a head. The various armies and fleets converging, the dragons taking flight. It all feels like it's building to something that we'll have to wait another year or more to see. But here's the thing. House of the Dragon has always been about the slow burn. It's about the political machinations that lead to war, rather than the war itself. And in that respect, this finale delivers in spades. We're seeing all the pieces move into place for what promises to be an epic conflict. Let's break down some of those pieces. First, we have the Greens in King's Landing. With Aegon out of commission and Helaena refusing to fight, Aemond is essentially a loose cannon. His attack on Sharp Point shows just how dangerous he is, and I can't help but wonder if he might end up being as much a liability to his own side as he is a threat to the Blacks. Then there's Alicent's peace offer. Is it genuine or is there more going on here? The look on her face as she leaves Dragonstone is ambiguous, to say the least. Could she be playing a longer game? On the black side, we have the new Dragon Riders. Ulf, Hugh, and Adam are wild cards. They bring much-needed dragon power to Rhaenyra's side, but can she trust them? The tensions we see bubbling up in this episode suggest that integrating these newcomers into Team Black might not be as smooth as Rhaenyra hopes. And let's not forget about Daemon. His vision quest and subsequent pledge of loyalty to Rhaenyra is a game-changer. But this is still Daemon we're talking about. Can he truly set aside his own ambitions and play second fiddle to Rhaenyra? One of the most intriguing developments of this episode is the revelation of Helena's possible prophetic abilities. This adds a whole new layer to her character and could have major implications for the story going forward. Is she the key to understanding the larger destiny of the Targaryen dynasty? The episode ends with a montage that shows all these pieces moving into place. We see armies marching, fleets sailing, and dragons being armored for war. It's a masterclass in building tension, leaving us on the edge of our seats for what's to come. Now let's talk about what worked and what didn't in this finale. The performances across the board are stellar. Matt Smith, Emma Darcy, and Olivia Cook in particular deliver some of their best work of the season. The political maneuvering and character development are top-notch, giving us a deeper understanding of these complex characters and the world they inhabit. The visuals, as always, are stunning. From the mud pits of Tyrosh to the Godswood on Dragonstone, every frame is packed with detail and atmosphere. And while we might not have gotten a full-on dragon battle, the glimpses we do get of the dragons being prepared for war are tantalizing. On the flip side, the lack of major plot progression might leave some viewers feeling frustrated. After a season of build-up, to end on what is essentially another cliffhanger feels a bit anticlimactic. And while the slow burn approach has its merits, there's a risk of losing momentum if the payoff is delayed too long. So, what does this all mean for Season 3? Well, if this finale is any indication, we're in for one hell of a ride. The stage is set for an epic clash between the Greens and the Blacks, with dragons on both sides ready to rain fire on Westeros. But beyond the spectacle, I'm most excited to see how these character arcs continue to develop. Will Rhaenyra be able to hold her coalition together? Can Alicent navigate the competing interests in King's Landing? And what role will Daemon play in the conflicts to come? Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you, dear listeners. What did you think of the House of the Dragon Season 2 finale? Did it live up to your expectations, or did you find yourself wanting more? What are your predictions for Season 3? And how do you think this series is shaping up compared to its predecessor, Game of Thrones? This is Journey Joe Mitchell, signing off from the TV basement. Thank you for joining me on this dragon-filled journey through Westeros. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your wits as sharp as Valyrian steel. And remember, in the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. But great television lives forever.